2 and the 3-0. On target! And the 3-1, that's on target. Engage. 15-200. 15-200.
Hello. Right, I'm out here doing a little bit of gradual training for me march, or me walk in May for SSAFA. I'm at the moment in the foothills of the mountains, the White Mountains, and there they are over there. And if we pan over to the left, we'll see Mount Ida there. Unfortunately, a fellow was killed on that mountain last week and another one seriously injured, and it's only 10 feet higher than the highest mountain over there. Okay, so stick with the video and I'll tell you all about the route. Alright, see you later.
During the German attack, Allied Commander Major General Freiberg failed to take advantage of the Germans being thin on the ground, confused and with great losses. He failed to counter-attack at that crucial moment, allowing the Germans a foothold on Malmö airfield, allowing stores and reinforcements to land. Around 26-27th of May 1941, the order was given to evacuate south to Slovakia. For most of the Allied forces who had been fighting at Malmö, Galatas, Hania and Suda, this meant a trek of 40 miles. Not so bad, you might think, but when you consider that most of the Allied soldiers had no food, very little water and in some cases no boots. Plus there was also the daunting prospect of another physical barrier, the White Mountains. The White Mountains, or Lefka-Ori, run down the centre of the west side of Crete in an east-west direction. They get their name from the white or off-white colour from the limestone peaks in the summer and the snow-covered peaks in the winter. There are over 30 summits that are over 6,500 feet high. There are around 50 gorges, the most famous being the Samaria Gorge. Mount Paknus, which in Greek means morning dew, is the second highest peak in Crete. This red arrow points at one of the 2 peaks that I've ascended in this range. And here's the proof, up there where I belong, with the gods. The Greek resistance operated mainly in these mountains, with the British Special Operations Executive. A famous Cretan, known as George Sikandakis, or the Cretan Runner, sometimes used to run up to 50 miles per night delivering messages for the Cretan resistance during the Nazi occupation. He wrote a book about his war memoirs called The Cretan Runner. Sir Patrick Leigh Fermor, DSO OBE, an SOE liaison officer to the Cretan resistance, famous for kidnapping the German General Crepe, described the man in his introduction in the book The Cretan Runner. He wrote, "When the moon rose, he got up and threw a last swig of raki down his throat, with the words, 'Another drop of petrol for the engine,' and loped towards the gap in the bushes with the furtiveness of a stage Mohican or a Groucho Marx. He turned round when he was on all fours at the exit, rolled his eyes, raised a forefinger portentously, whispered, 'The intelligence service,' and scuttled through like a rabbit. A few minutes later, we could see his small figure a mile away moving across the next moonlit fold of the foothills of the White Mountains, bound for another 50-mile journey." The route south to Slovakia took the retreating men through the villages of Aptera, Stylos, Vrisis, Askifu and Imbros. They went through this saddle in the mountains as arrowed in the picture. From there it dropped steeply to the south coast and the small fishing village of Slovakia. And this is not a bad view of the route from just near the back of my house. Their retreat was being protected by a rearguard or lay force of Royal Marines, Anzacs and other Allied units, with German mountain and airborne troops hot on their tail. Approximately 25,000 men had to travel mostly at night due to the attacks and strafing by German aircraft during the day. When they arrived in Sfakia, it was chaos. A bedraggled army, men without equipment, men separated from their units, tired and hungry. The rearguard, still in the mountains, were performing a sterling job, keeping the advancing Germans at bay, buying time to evacuate as many men as possible. Over several nights, the Royal Navy managed to evacuate over 16,000 men to North Africa. Approximately 500 men decided to go it alone and try to escape. Approximately 6,500 men were elsewhere on the island, and 5,000 men were stuck in Slovakia, who were unable to be evacuated due to the advancing Germans and their superior air power. These 5,000 men stranded in Slovakia had no option but to surrender. They were forced to march back to where they had just come from, back to the Sulu Bay area, and into captivity. After a grueling 40-mile march across the mountains over 3 days, they had to do it all again.
And this is a walk that I'm going to be doing in SSAFA. From Slovakia to Sulu Bay War Cemetery. Over 40 miles over mountainous terrain, over a mountain range that in places is twice as high as the UK's highest mountain, Ben Nevis. I'll be walking through the same gorges, through the same villages and along the same tracks as those men did 80 years ago. And I'm going to be doing it over 3 days. Let's pop into the ops room, or the lamp and sandbag. And I'll show you on a map where we're going. Here we go. Okay, here's the bigger map. And we're going to be starting off down here on the south coast at Slovakia. Okay, we're going to be following the coast road until we reach the turn-off where we start a steep incline. You can see how steep it is by all the wiggly bits here. Up into the mountain range. It keeps climbing quite steeply until we get to near Imbros. Once we're in Imbros, I'm going to start showing you or telling you some stories about some feats of bravery which took place either side of the main road here in the gorges. And indeed a VC was one up there, and I'll tell you how the guy won that, Kiwi fella. Okay, so up to the Askifu Plateau where it levels out. There's then a slight incline as we come out of the plateau. And then it's a steady decline all the way down to the beautiful village of Vresis. Stays fairly level from Vresis up to Agas Pandis, and then we've got some rolling countryside as we and a slight incline as we start to walk towards Neo Horio. From Neo Horio it's up to Stilos, where again it's rolling country, and a slight incline where we skirt around Aptera. Once we get here, there's a steep decline down to the highway. Once we're on the highway, it's about 3 k's down to the turn-off for Suda. We come off at Suda, we follow the coast around the bay until we get to where the cemetery is, just about there, where we hope to arrive in time to lay a wreath on behalf of the lads who did that walk 80 years ago. In promotion of the walk, I'll be doing a few more short videos on the men, their actions and the equipment they had, and the equipment that I'll be wearing on the walk. Look out for it, some good stories, they're all in promotion of the video. Also, it's all in aid of SSAFA, so it's a worthy cause, I know from experience, so please donate, any little helps, and a big thank you to all those that have donated so far, it's very much appreciated. Until then, look out for the videos and keep safe.
Clean 105 and the 30. Clean 112 and the 30. On target and the 31. That's on target. Engage. 15 200. 15 200.